Good evening. I'm Lynn Cannon reporting from home as we all do our part to try and slow the spread of the coronavirus. Here are the stories you need to know about right now. Fort Bend County and Access Health are launching that county's first free testing site. You must first be screened online to determine if you can go. We'll have more on this coming up in just a moment. Harris County is giving property owners who are on a 12-month payment plan for their property taxes a 3-month extension. That means your next payment will not be due until June. And sadly, Brazoria County confirmed its first death from the virus, a Pearland woman between 75 and 85 years old. The greater Houston area now has at least 988 cases. Harris County itself reported 14 new cases today. Our Jason Miles joins us live with the latest information from the Harris County judge today. Jason?
Hey there, Lynn. Yeah, that joint Harris County-Houston stay-home order was initially set to expire this coming Friday, but County Judge Lena Hidalgo just announcing that it is a necessary burden in her opinion. She should announce tomorrow for how long it will be lengthened, but she says that will pretty much happen. Take a look inside. She also spoke about a new online dashboard where residents can go online to keep up with the latest COVID-19 cases. That includes 14 new cases in the county revealed today, bringing the total to more than 250. That's in Harris County, not including Houston. County health leaders cite community spread as one of the reasons for the continued increase. That's in addition to more testing capabilities and previously presumptive cases getting confirmed. Now, extending this stay-home, work-safe order will help limit that community spread component.
The reality of it is, the question is not whether we'll be extending the order. It's really a question of for how long we'll be extending the order for. And this is really difficult. You know, it's a difficult position we're all a part of, and it's a burden that we have to bear for the sake of our health and for the sake of saving lives.
I got a chance to speak with the head of Harris County Public Health before this evening's news conference. He told me they'd love to put a timeline on COVID-19, be it days, weeks, or even months. But the reality is nobody knows as they continue to closely monitor, of course, developments up in New York, New Orleans, and elsewhere. Now, some of those cities and other places have identified and even started moving into convention halls and other spaces to kind of handle the COVID-19 overflow of patients. The officials here were asked about that today. They have identified some sites, including over at NRG Park, but those are contingencies they hope they never have to implement as we continue to monitor this situation. Lynn?
I certainly understand that, Jason. Thank you very much. Well, as we mentioned earlier, Fort Bend County has launched its first free testing site. Our Sherman Childs, she's in the newsroom to let us know what residents in Fort Bend County need to know about the site. Sherman?
Yeah, Len, Fort Bend County planning to test about 100 folks a day. They're starting today, and they are focusing on the most vulnerable first responders and healthcare providers to begin with. It'll work much like the Houston-Harris County system, with folks going through an online and a phone screening system first. To start the process, they'll head to fbchealth.org. If that individual is deemed at risk, they will be given the next step. Here is Fort Bend County Judge KP George.
After screening is complete, people receive a unique code that will be required for the testing site.
Meantime, Fort Bend County paramedics will now be required to wear face masks for all calls. Ambulances will also no longer transport relatives to a call. Only a patient will be taken to the ER in an ambulance. EMS also wants to remind folks that general flu-like symptoms are not a reason to call 911. If instead you have chest pains, shortness of breath, or a fever that cannot be controlled by medications, stuff that may require hospitalization, that, they say, is inadequate use of 911. Len?
Sherman, thank you. Governor Greg Abbott's new restrictions on drivers coming into Texas from Louisiana and other virus hotspots that went into effect today. DPS troopers, we're told, are stationed on roads from Louisiana into Texas. Stephanie Whitfield looks at how all of this is going to work.
Last week, DPS troopers set up in airports, and everyone who flies in from hotspots has to fill out a form designating where they're going to quarantine for 14 days. Well, we learned today there will not be checkpoints for drivers at the Texas-Louisiana state line. So there are a lot of unanswered questions about how this new travel order can possibly be enforced. Nearly 3,000 Texans have now tested positive for COVID-19. Governor Greg Abbott says slowing the spread now means restricting all travelers driving or flying from Louisiana.
Understand that executive orders that I issue about travel is keenly focused on one main goal, and that is to reduce importing COVID-19 into the state of Texas.
A new travel order went into effect today because of alarming outbreaks in Louisiana. It says anyone entering Texas must fill out this form and quarantine for 14 days. Certain essential workers are exempt, like commercial traffic and military and emergency personnel. Companies with employees who travel for work will need to contact the state, and if approved, employees will get a letter to show law enforcement at the border.
This order will be enforced like the order that I issued previously about travel from New Orleans. It will be enforced by the Texas Department of Public Safety at and near entry points from Louisiana.
DPS troopers are set up at airports, but a spokesperson for DPS says there will not be checkpoints for drivers crossing the state line, only increased patrols. And as of Monday afternoon, traffic on I-10 flowed as usual. According to the governor's order, DPS troopers do have the authority to make surprise visits to people's designated quarantine locations. And they want people to know it will be treated as a criminal offense if people don't comply. Stephanie Whitfield, KHOU 11 News.
All right, Stephanie, thank you. KHOU is dedicated to bringing you the facts about COVID-19, and we're constantly monitoring rumors spreading online to make sure you get the truth. Investigative reporter Cheryl Mercedes has today's Verify report.
Hey, there are a lot of what ifs out there, so let's get started with this one. What if I've had chickenpox or the measles? Does that protect me from getting COVID-19? That is false. There is no indication that any previous illnesses will keep you from getting infected. And secondly, someone said, I heard that I should not let my children play outside in the neighborhood with other kids. Well, that is true. The CDC recommends that you limit exposure with everyone outside of the home as much as you can. And finally, someone asked, I've heard that onions, if you peel, cut, or slice them, can help pick up bacterial agents. Is that true? Well, we can tell you that is false. There is no indication that onions, no matter how you slice them, can help prevent getting the virus or kill it. Back to you.
If you have a question, reach out on our Facebook page or Twitter. You can also email us at verify@khou.com. Well, today, 2 more Harris County Sheriff's deputies learned they tested positive for COVID-19. That brings the total number of confirmed cases to 12 in the Harris County Sheriff's Department. Every time law enforcement goes out on a call, they are at risk. And deputies tell us in one instance, one deputy was spit on and another had his finger bitten by a suspect who claimed to have COVID-19. Investigative reporter Jeremy Rogowski has this story.
It started at the Circle K in Spring, where sheriff's deputies responded to a suspicious person call. And when they tried to detain the suspect,
the offender spit on one of the deputies, spit on his shirt.
Captain John Morrison says that's when Matthew Murphy told deputies he had COVID-19. But the altercation wasn't over. Later, Murphy allegedly began to bang his head on the frame of the patrol car.
One of the other deputies tried to further restrain him, put a helmet on him to prevent injury to himself, and while he was doing that, the inmate bit him.
It's just one example of the daily dangers first responders face, not knowing who or what they're going to run into on the front lines.
That's not the first case where we've gone to arrest somebody and they claim to have COVID-19. I believe some people are using that as an avenue to avoid arrest.
Well, Murphy was arrested for felony assault on a peace officer and harassment of a public servant. While he was screened at the jail and ultimately showed no symptoms of COVID-19, Just imagine the emotional stress it all caused. Back to you.